Now, I'm kind of surprised myself on multiple levels here. One, because this is, I guess, faster than I anticipated. And secondly, because now I ended off that last video saying that I wasn't sure if I was even going to finish this game to feeling very determined to finish it no matter how long it takes. Alright, so the first video I did for this, I posted is Black Myth Wukong too difficult for the casual gamers? And I do believe that it is. And my take on that hasn't really changed all that much. I think this game kind of throws you some hard curveballs really quick into the game, and it can put off a lot of people. But I also want to say that this game can take you from being somebody who doesn't really have any skills to actually being a skilled player. Now, understand that when I say that I'm a casual gamer, I mean that I've got like zero Souls-like experience in my gaming history. The closest style of gameplay that I've come to this is old school God of War games. Not anything new. I'm talking about like God of War 2 back in the day. The only games I've played over the past 15 years is Pokemon, World of Warcraft, and like Chrono Cross. So I've not played anything like this in forever, and I've never played anything that takes this much effort. So my gripes that I can see that people would complain about, my positives, and the one major thing that I think, one major thing I think they can change, and one minor thing that I believe that the game could benefit from as well. So first off, my feel and my biggest complaint about this game is that it's like CrossFit. And before you get into the jokes where I've never done any exercise in my entire life, because CrossFit is not my thing, right? This is the kind of work I like to do. I think that this game doesn't give you a chance to breathe. After a big, heavy workout, I want to walk around for a little bit, puff my chest out, and feel like I'm a big, strong boy. And there's literally, I can't remember which bosses that I was in between, but there are two boss fights that are so close that there was literally only 3 trash mobs separating one from the other. So it's like you kill the boss, you kill one trash mob, you kill 2 in a cluster, and then boom, right into the next boss fight. And that sucks. So and then also you come back and think that there are 10 bosses. Yes, I think there are 11 bosses in total in chapter 1. And one of them you cannot gain access to until later in chapter 2, from what I believe. So that brings the count down to 10. Now, also one of them is hidden that you have to unlock bells for, which would bring it down to 9 if you don't do that one. And I did learn after I cleared the chapter that I did skip a boss by accident. It's the frog boss, which I will be going back to kill later. Because now I'm feeling super motivated to do like a proper full clear of this game and not just do the speed run through. Although speed being not the case at all in my time, because they're saying this game is supposed to be estimated at like at 30 to 40 hours, but I've got 15 hours in chapter 1 of 6. So if you're like me and you're taking some time, don't feel bad about it. Now I will say that the game does get better. The game is fun. I mean, I'm not playing this game to prove a point or anything, or for content farming. I could just run the same benchmarking sections over and over again to do that. I don't really need to play out the whole game to do benchmarking. So it is fun. Like, the game is fun to play, but and then you definitely do get better the more time you spend on it. But it's just like I said, like the problem is the game. It doesn't give you enough time to like really flex your muscle in between boss fights. It's just like it's a boss gauntlet. So I guess the one thing I could say that would be to improve the game would be to make the gap between bosses bigger. Now, if you have to take out bosses, that's fine. Or just make the game bigger in general, then do that. But either way, I just feel like there's not enough break. There's not enough time to breathe in between bosses, not enough chance to farm, to level up. Another complaint that I'm just thinking of now, speaking of that, is it doesn't seem like you're really unlocking skill at a fast enough clip. Like, it doesn't really feel like you're adding too much as you're leveling up through the chapter. Now, I don't know what the average level is. Like, I know that I'm probably higher in level than a lot of people are. They're faster than me, simply because of the fact that I got stuck in the first two bosses and wound up grinding the same trash mobs like a bunch of times. So now the Guanji, I believe it is, the fire guy, I spent like 2 hours beating him before I decided to start looking at, reviews on YouTube. Yeah, even though I was able to gain his attack patterns, I just think that I didn't have the proper skill set build to beat him. So even though I was seeing how people did it, I needed to redo my talent tree before I could get it done. And once I did that, I was able to clear the boss on the second attempt after learning the trick, right? And then I spent like 30 minutes on the Wandering Right. And then now after that, I had a false sense of confidence boost because the two bosses that I fought right after that dude, this one, I beat those guys both on my second attempts. Like, I wasn't even really expecting to win. I went in there and was able to get it done. So I'm like, oh, maybe that's what it is. Maybe the first couple bosses are just really hard and it's going to ease up now and it'll be easier going from here on out. But then I think, what was it? Who's the next? Oh, then I ran into the White-Clad Noble. I think, retrospectively, looking back over the entire chapter and all the bosses I fought, I would say, for me personally, the White-Clad Noble was the most difficult. Now, I spent several hours on that guy. He's the only other boss besides the second one, besides Guanji. He's the only one I spent more than 30 minutes fighting. Every other boss except for one, I'll tell you at the end, or tell you later, I spent a lot of time, or only 30 minutes on, for each one. And now, it feels like a lot because it's like a 2-minute fight, a 3-minute fight, you go back, you're doing it again and again. But I think 30 minutes is an unrealistic amount of time to spend fighting a boss. White-Clad Noble took me several hours. Now, the thing is this: I wound up getting very good at my own pattern. Like, I didn't need to do the research for the first phase. I got I fought the guy so many times. I was able to learn. I figured out my own little personal trick, which you can check. I'll leave cards up above so you can see what I did to kill him. It's a zero commentary thing. You can just watch the fight. What I did to kind of lure him into the bushes in the first phase and just kind of beat him up with the Red Cloud transformation or whatever the hell that shit's called, Red Tide. And beat him up as much as I could there. And mind you, also, I didn't have the Wandering White Spirit at the time when I fought that guy. And I know that's not like a make or break type deal, but it does make a huge difference, especially when you see that at the end of the boss fight, I had very little health left. And that was also routine on a lot of my fights, where at the end, I would have very little health left. So now, while I say it took me on average about 30 minutes worth of attempts to clear these guys, and I know that some people are like, oh, it only took me my second or third try or whatever, such and such. My gauge on how easy or how hard you cleared it was where was your health at when you finally did beat him? If it was close to the end and you got where you're just one smack away from dying, then how many more attempts if you wouldn't have cleared him then, how many more attempts would it have gotten you before you're able to get him? There were several boss fights where I'm right there on the edge and one more smack and I would have lost the fight, and I don't know if I would have got him so quick on the next go around. So there's that, right? Now I guess that the one really positive thing to say about this whole situation is you keep at the game and you try, and if you're competent enough, you're gonna learn the tricks of the trade. You're gonna get more comfortable with the gameplay style, and you will make progression. But the boss fights are never gonna be so easy consistently easy where you're just gonna steamroll through all of them. Most of them are gonna take some effort, unless you just unless you're, again, I'm aiming this at as a casual reviewer. It's just gonna take some tries. I don't really. The only boss that I was able to steamroll, which shocked me, was the black bear, Black Bear Guai, because the Black Wind King, I almost got him on my second try. Same thing with the Elder Genji. I almost got him on my second try and died right before I was able to land the second smack, which turned into a 30-minute white fest before I was able to finally get him. I would say that the Black Wind King was actually more difficult than the second form that you fight as a separate fight as the final boss of the chapter. I was really shocked that the final boss of the chapter was easy. That's all I can say. Like, I can say that fight was easy. I was benchmarking. I had my graphics card set to super high quality on a 2060, and or very high settings. And I was just testing it out. So like half of that video before I even get to the boss was just clearing trash mobs, and then I roll into where the black bear was, and you even see it in the gameplay. I'll leave it up here. That the game kind of stutters and lags a bit, and that's because the settings were higher than they should have been for a graphically intense fight, because the whole area is on fire. So like it caught me so off guard how well I was doing that I actually had to pause the fight at a certain point in time because I was lagging enough where it was worrying me to drop the graphics down from very high to high before I was able to finish the fight properly. And I got it. You know, I killed the guy. I was on first try, zero prep. And that's the thing. I didn't prepare for any of these fights, so that also could have potentially shaved off my wipes, the amount of wipes I had. What I would do is I would go in and I would try to learn the fight as much as I could, get comfortable with the moveset, what to expect from the bosses, and then I would go after, if I was stuck for a while, I would go and see what I'm missing. As far as like the white clad noble, a lot of the guys that were fighting them were on a stance that I wasn't using, and I don't plan on using anytime soon. Plus, they had the Wandering White, which I didn't have at the time. So a lot of the things they were doing, I couldn't do. So I had my own playstyle for doing the first phase. The first phase was no longer an issue anymore. I could get through it really quick. The second phase was just so punishing, and I was trying to stay close to him and do damage like that, but I would just get caught on the backslide. And I even saw other people online saying that's the trick, you have to stay in close. But it wound up being where I finally saw a video where the guy was like, he has like 3 or 4 different movesets that he does in the second phase. But if you keep your distance from him for the whole fight or the whole duration of that phase, he will just spear at you. And then you dodge that, and that's when you do your damage and just run away again. Spear at you, you run at him and do your damage. So once I learned that, I was, second attempt. A second attempt after watching that video, I was able to get it done. Yeah, so I feel super accomplished in a way that I haven't felt since, clearing a raid back in World of Warcraft when I was seriously active. This feels really good, and this is all on you. This is a one player, the whole game is on your shoulders type deal. So the only person you have to hate on or congratulate yourself. So yes, you do feel a good sense of accomplishment. But yeah, the game is also going to be trying, and so if you're somebody who wants to play this game casually, I guess you still can play it casually. It's just that it may not be as fun simply because of the fact that it's boss fight after boss fight after boss fight, and the bosses are fairly difficult if you're not used to playing this kind of game. And even after you get better at the game, it's still going to be kind of difficult. The only thing I have left to do at this point would be to go back and try it again with, not a new game plus or whatever, but just like a new file, and run them again through the chapter to see if, how well I've actually improved, how fast I can clear them. Which I'm not going to do that right now. I feel really confident it's not going to take me 15 hours of gameplay to get through again. But I probably will do that again, but I think probably what it'll be is I'll finish the game, take a large layoff, play some other stuff, and then go back and try it again. Or the New Game Plus. I haven't looked into New Game Plus. I don't know if New Game Plus is like the old JRPGs where you're just like, you carry over all your experience and weapons and skills, and then like the bosses are at the same level they were in the first playthrough. If that's the case, then I would imagine that's New Game Plus playthrough would be pretty quick. I don't know, but I'm going to keep doing these little entries, whether people watch or not, because I guess it's kind of like, at the end of the day, it's a video log for me to go back and see what I think after having cleared the game, because I'm going to have 5 more of these to do. And I'm no longer going to make the mistake of not filming a boss fight anymore. I think that the only 2 bosses I didn't film are Guanji and the bull guy at the very beginning. So that would be a very easy fix. Plus, I guess that could give me a little bit of a sample of how long it would take me to kill those guys. Because Guanji was actually stupid easy to kill after I realized what I was doing wrong. So, I don't know, maybe I'll make a new file at some point and go back and just to kill those 2 guys so I can add them to the library. But, yeah, I don't do any commentary for my my gaming. I guess technically I had a little tiny bit of commentary on my my Black Bear Guai, simply because of the fact that I was wearing a headset because everybody's sleeping around me, and I forgot that I was wearing a headset. Thankfully, I didn't say anything wild. But when I'm playing these games and I'm focused on them, I tend to just be quiet. I even did attempt like a commentary track at one point in time, and it just didn't, like, it's just me saying a whole lot of, there's a whole lot of F-bombs. So anyway, guys, for you guys that are sticking around and actually watching these whole videos, that's great. I appreciate it. I'm going to be doing a PC giveaway at 500 subscribers. I'm sure that you're going to see a card or a tag at the end of the video at some point in time about that. As far as how do you enter that, all you got to do is be a subscriber on the channel, and once the 500 mark is passed, I will announce a video upload that's coming for you guys to comment on, and I will be selecting a winner from the comments. All right, guys, so again, thanks for watching, and peace.